I'm Melissa Costello. As I said, I'm a transformational eating coach, holistic nutritionist, and I love to come on live every Friday and share strategies and tools to help you overcome the struggle with yo-yo dieting, with your eating, with emotional eating. Today's topic is a big one. It's all about boredom eating. I had posted in my group this week around what are you most struggling with food right now, and some people had said, I'm really struggling with boredom eating. And I know that I am someone who in the past used to eat out of boredom. It was one of those things that food just became an activity for me. It was something that took up space and time. And so boredom eating is very, very common with a lot of people, and it usually happens at night, or it can happen when we're at work if we're bored and we're sitting at our desk, where we just kind of tend to mindlessly eat. So I wanted to address this topic today. By the way, you guys, starting next week, I'm going to be doing my first Hotseat Coaching live here on Facebook. I have my first person that I'm going to be coaching. I'm super excited. It's going to be a really cool thing to see and witness, because you're going to get to hear me coach someone live, and you'll get to learn a lot too, someone who's really struggling. And so that will be happening here in my private Facebook group, Food Freedom Breakthrough, next week at 1 p.m. Pacific. So if you can hop on live and catch that, you want to make sure that you watch it, because I will be coaching her live around struggles with emotional eating and food and things like that. So today, boredom eating, it's a big topic, right? It's something that most of us have done at one time or other in our lives, and it is one of the biggest culprits to weight gain. Anytime we eat when we're bored or when we're not really physically hungry, our body usually is going to store that food as extra weight because we don't really need it. So boredom eating is something that, doesn't really support our efforts to lose weight if that's what we are trying to do, if that's a goal of ours. And boredom eating can definitely feel like something that is, number one, an activity, because we get bored and we're looking for something to do, and food is always available, right? It's like, how many times have you walked around the kitchen bored and kind of like, oh, I'm bored, and you're opening the cabinets and you're opening the refrigerator and you're looking in there for what you can find. I know I've done that so much. And it's just a way that we take up space and time. So I have a different idea than most people around what I think boredom is. Now, I feel like boredom shouldn't really exist if we are completely at peace with who we are and with ourselves. I feel like boredom, we're so used to doing all the time and to being busy, and so many of us think that we have to be productive or we have to be doing things all the time, and we base a lot of our value on that. Like we're either overachievers or overdoers, and we feel like we have to be constantly doing something. And especially even more so in today's day and age. It was different when I grew up as a kid, because we spent so much time just hanging out and being, And so in today's day and age, with all the electronics and all the other stuff that's going on, emails and texting and all the things coming at us all the time, we're always constantly busy. And so when we're not, having our hands moving all the time or doing something, we can feel bored. And I fully believe that boredom is something that if you were completely at peace with yourself, it wouldn't exist. I very rarely ever feel bored, because I also know that, number one, I have no issue sitting and just being with myself. I actually really enjoy it, just to be able to sit and breathe and connect and, just look outside and listen to the birds, like really just connecting to, what's happening in the present moment and what I can really enjoy and experience in that moment without having to do something. So we always feel like we need to be doing something. And so boredom eating takes that feeling away, like if we are idle. Now, here's another thing. People really look at boredom as, if I'm bored, I'm being lazy. There's a lot of beliefs around boredom and being lazy, like if you're not doing something, right? So if we're not always doing something, engaging something, we could have this belief that we're lazy. And we could also have a fear that if we're lazy, that we might fall into a big black hole with that and never come out of it. And I say, you know what? Be lazy. We're all so freaking busy all the time. We're also just pushing. And it's like, just allow yourself to be lazy. Allow yourself to just be. It's so important. And so I, again, will say that I really believe that boredom, if you were at peace with yourself and just being, that boredom really wouldn't be a factor. Now, that's somewhere down the road, right? You want tips for right now that you can use and implement and put into practice to support you in shifting your boredom eating into something that feels more nourishing and more aligned with you. So here's some things that I will say about that. Number one, I think that most of us are really aware of when we go into boredom eating. So we experience that feeling of what we consider boredom, which is kind of like, I feel dissatisfied. I'm not really sure what to do. Nothing is exciting me. So boredom really is kind of a byproduct of not feeling excited and not feeling connected and not feeling productive or nourished. And so I think that it's important that we implement tools and strategies into our life so that we don't experience those feelings, right? We want to be filling our life with things that feel nourishing, things that feel connected, things that feel like they're aligned with us. And so many of us are living out of alignment with ourselves. We're living out of alignment with our truth. And I think that when we're living out of alignment, that boredom can tend to come up quite a bit, because I really feel that boredom is just dissatisfaction and that we're always looking to change our state and change our feeling. Now, that being said, I think it's so important when we're trying to shift these behaviors and habits to really just be able to be okay with the feeling of boredom, right? Like if it's something that you're feeling, if you're feeling bored and dissatisfied, can you be okay with that feeling? And can you really just be with it and be okay with it and accept it? Because I think that that's a really powerful way to shift the way you're relating to it. Because once you can actually be settled and feel your boredom and accept it and really allow it, I believe that it will really shift. I know it has for me. And so whenever I'm bored, which is very rare these days, but it will come up sometimes, it is mostly because I've been out of my morning routine where I connect with myself daily, and I've been disconnected from either my creative outlet or the people in my life that I feel that I get a lot of nourishment from. Like those are the people that I feel really connected to, that I share with, that I'm able to be vulnerable with, that I feel safe around. And so that's when boredom comes up for me. And it's usually one of those three times, like where I'm feeling dissatisfied. And it mostly has to do with the disconnection to myself, the disconnection to my creative outlet, and the disconnection to the people in my life who I feel really supported by. And so knowing those three things, and I'm not sure what those three things are for you, but I would say that it's important to start to look at that. But knowing that, I make sure that I carve out space and time to create connection with myself, to create space to do my creative outlets, and to create time with friends that really mean a lot to me. And so those are some ways that you can start to really alleviate or move out of this idea of boredom, which really is just a feeling a lot of times of dissatisfaction, or feeling like, you know, maybe you're not of value because you're not doing something. Because so many of us have doing linked up to our value, right? And that we have to be busy all the time to be doing stuff. My mission over the last few years is to be not busy. I was trying to figure out a good way to word that. So to be as little busy as possible, if that makes sense. So that's been my mission over the last 3 years, is to really utilize my time in a really nourishing, connected, powerful, and productive way, so that I have a lot of space to do all the other things that I love, or I have space to just be and to just really nourish myself and connect with myself. I feel like boredom eating just really comes from the disconnection of these things in your life that are really important to you. So one of the first steps is figure out what those things are, right? Maybe you're in a relationship and you feel disconnected to your partner. Maybe you have something that you really enjoy doing that you let go of for some reason. Life got in the way, or, you were, something happened with your family, who knows, but for whatever reason, right? So maybe you became disconnected from that. And the most important one is your connection to yourself, because that's where it all starts, right? Our connection to ourself is where everything starts. This has nothing to do with food. Has nothing to do with food. And you guys will always hear me say that. Boredom eating, stress eating, emotional eating, overeating, binge eating has nothing to do with food, right? And being overweight. It really has to do with our behaviors with food, how we are, responding to food, how we're relating to it, what our habits are. And so if you notice that you are a boredom eater, start to think about, where am I disconnected in my life? Where am I not engaging in things that feel really important to me, so that I'm not going toward food if I feel bored, which ultimately, like, if you're feeling connected, you're not going to experience a feeling of boredom because you won't be dissatisfied. So I always believe that boredom is a really great guide to be able to get you to lean into what's out of alignment in your life. Like, if you're feeling bored, what's out of alignment in your life? And so that's a really great thing to lean into. It's like, as you're eating and you're feeling bored and you're feeling dissatisfied and you're feeling antsy and all that, just stop and ask yourself, like, where am I not aligned right now? Like, what's really going on here? And I say that with emotional eating too, because boredom eating is just another part of emotional eating. And so it's really important to turn inward and ask yourself, what is going on here? Like, what's really happening? What is my boredom trying to tell me, right? Leaning into that and really starting to understand what it's trying to tell you. Oh, I'm dissatisfied. Oh, I haven't seen my friend in a long time. Oh, my partner and I are not connecting in the way I want to. All of these things can come out of this. So that's a really important strategy to start with, is to just become aware and then to lean into and look at, where am I disconnected in my life? Like, where do I need to start to implement things where I feel supported and where I can just learn how to be and just create space for connection with myself? So those are some really good strategies. One other thing I would say is I've taught this strategy before, and I will always use this strategy when it comes to food because it's a really powerful strategy. It's the practicing the pause strategy. And so anytime that you feel driven toward food or driven to eat, stopping, taking a breath, connecting in, asking what's going on, which is just very similar to what I shared in the other strategy, but just really attuning and connecting and saying, like, what's going on right now? I'm not really hungry. What am I needing, right? What am I really needing here? And then starting to get in tune with that, and then doing something to give yourself what you're really needing. Like, maybe you need to talk to someone. Maybe you need to call a friend. Maybe, putting on some really nice, relaxing music. Maybe taking some big, deep breaths will help. Maybe doing a little journaling will help. Like, something that will reconnect you and give you some nourishment other than you looking to food to actually fill up whatever that void is, that boredom void is. So those are my top strategies for today. One more thing, you guys, before I go. Next week on Tuesday, I'm doing a live masterclass with Holly Perkins. She's an author and strength expert. I love Holly because she's so much about building strength in our bodies, especially for women, and how that works from the outside in. I know psychology is all about inside out, and I really believe that that's helpful. But I think in terms of building strength, it helps us, like when we're exercising and building strength, it helps us build our own personal power and creates a lot of confidence in women. And so we're going to be really talking about all of her strategies to do that and to really build that strength so that you can feel more power in your life. And it really helps you support reaching goals for yourself, whatever those may be. So that is next Tuesday. You can sign up right here on my Facebook page. Below the header, there's a little sign up bar. Claim your spot for that. It's totally free. We're going to have a great time. There's going to be time for Q&A. I'll be hosting Holly. She's my special guest. I'm super excited to bring her to you guys. She's freaking amazing. She has so much knowledge. And her book, Lift to Get Lean, is incredible. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can check that out. And then next week will be my live hot seat coaching. If anyone is interested in being in the hot seat and getting coached around something, you can email me directly, missy@karmachow.com, or you can go on my website and set up a time to chat with me and just do a preliminary call to see if this coaching is something that's right for you and if it's a fit. Because this hot seat coaching is really powerful. It's laser coaching that happens within 20 minutes, and we do it live inside my private group. So the whole world won't be able to see you, just people who are in this group that are really struggling with food. And we're all there to support one another. There's no judgment. It's a really great environment. So if you also want to check that group out, it's Food Freedom Breakthrough. It's on Facebook. It's totally private. There's amazing people in there, and it's a great place to go get support if you're needing extra support right now, because I know that we all need support. So thanks for joining me today. I'm super excited to share this message. I hope to see you here next week for my first live hot seat coaching. Don't forget to claim your spot for the masterclass on Tuesday with Holly and I. It's going to be incredible, brand new information coming out to you guys. And like I said, it's totally free, and it's going to be a live video online masterclass. So that you can sign up for that underneath the header on my Facebook page. There's a little sign up button. You'll see the header, and the date and time is on there as well. So you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you here next week at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Have a great one, guys. Bye.